And here we go.
Sports!
I listen to you guys all the time.
It's awesome.
I'm in the mood for one of your classic anecdotes.
Give yourselves a round of applause. All right, that's enough.
Hey guys, there is someone I want you to meet.
Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun on Off the Hook Sports. Represented by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com, Tennessee's trial attorney from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studio, East Tennessee's #1 volume and customer service dealer, Ted Russell Ford and TedRussellLincoln.net.
Look, we're all part of the same team here.
Now to the Dave Hooker Show on Off the Hook Sports.
All right, coming up, Football IQ, a Tuesday staple. We'll look at some dumb coaching decisions. There were plenty of them over the weekend. SEC quarterback power ranking today. Where does Joey Aguilar stack up this day in Tennessee sports history? Stat of the day, why Nico Iamaleava, speaking of Joey Aguilar, he should just transfer again. Just go ahead and cruise on out. The Tennessee-Mississippi State kickoff time has been announced. Why that helps the Vols, according to Caleb Calhoun. Also, the latest on injuries. But first, we'll get to, can the Vols win a national championship? We have just seen a handful of games. There's a lot of football left to be played. But based off what you have seen, do you believe Tennessee can win a national title? We do have a 12-team playoff, so let's remember that. All you have to do is get in there. You don't have, it's not like back in the days of Florida, where Florida had to lose twice and all this crazy stuff had to happen just to win an SEC title. You can win a national championship. So, Caleb, let's jump right into it. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm fantastic. It is time for today's tough question, and it's brought to you by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com.
Today's tough question. Boom. You heard that. Now take it. The Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun. Represented by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com, Tennessee's trial attorney. From the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studio, East Tennessee's #1 volume and customer service dealer, Ted Russell Ford and TedRussellLincoln.net. Now to the Dave Hooker Show on Off the Hook Sports.
Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Don't forget that. And answer the poll question, which is up now. And that is, can Tennessee win a national championship? Realistically, what you've seen on Saturday and so far this season, do you think Tennessee can win a championship? So, Caleb, here is my answer. It is definitely yes. And there is a poll question up right now. There's a column that is scheduled to go up or is up right now. Off the hooksports.com. Why I believe they can. Now I'm going with the eye test. Now, ironically, my eye test is telling me one thing while my old eye test is telling me something else. And that is Tennessee has coaching issues on the defensive side of the ball. And I was kind of ahead of the game, I believe, when I thought that Tim Banks was a good coordinator. Now I'm wondering about that aloud a little bit. But I do think that the team I saw can win a national championship. I think I've seen about 18 to 22 teams so far this football season can win a championship. And I think Tennessee is one of those. And no, Steve, Nico is not going to pay UT to come back, but he might. We'll get into that a little bit later. But Caleb, can Tennessee win a national championship? The team that you saw play Georgia on Saturday.
Overall, I'd want to say yes, because Tennessee, if they get fully healthy, I think could. I think a fully healthy Tennessee could win a national championship. My problem with Tennessee is the fact that we are seeing a team that, particularly on defense, that's not like last year's defense in this specific way. They can't reload with injuries. Now, to be fair, nobody can in college football anymore in the NIL age, but there is a high volume of snaps being played by a lot of players on Tennessee's defense right now. And if they don't lessen those and deepen the rotation very, very, very soon, they'll be too tired by December to win a national title. Because I don't think, particularly in the Josh Heupel system, I mean, let's just call it what it is. You're going to play a lot of snaps on defense in a Josh Heupel system because you're going to play a lot of snaps in a game period in a Josh Heupel offense. So because you're going to play a lot of snaps in a game, you need to be able to rotate a lot of guys. And they're not rotating that many this year. They're not rotating nearly the guys on the defensive line that they were last year. And that cost them in overtime against Georgia. Georgia just ran it 3 times, got the touchdown because the defensive line was so tired by that point. And I think that Tennessee, while I think they can win a national championship if they're fully healthy, they're one of the schools that has to be fully healthy. And I just don't see how any team can be fully healthy when.
See, I don't know that there are a lot of schools that can't. That I think the health thing has to go their way. Adam says we can win a championship, but not by heart and a can-do attitude. It's going to require excellent game planning by the coaches. It is. And it's going to require some good luck via injuries as well. And Tennessee has not had good luck via injuries this season. They're going to have to get much better in that regard. And there's nothing they can do about that. That's just kind of where you are. Dylan says we're not winning the Natty until we upgrade the coaching staff. It's been 5 years, and how much turnover have we seen? It's fair. Didn't we think that Tim Banks, that somebody would make a run at him at this point?
I think someone did, and they just offered him a lot of money to stay. And look, I feel like I'm standing alone. I've got no problem with the game Tim Banks called on Saturday. He didn't have his top 2 cornerbacks. What defense can do anything without their top 2 cornerbacks in a game when your safeties are already a problem and you're not that, and you also are missing 2 of your top 3 defensive tackles? I mean, that's a really,
but you've also pointed out that you had an issue with the linebacker play, and as I did, that to me just screams defensive coordinator more than any other position. Even if in your past you were a defensive lineman or you're in the secondary, I mean, you've got to be able to coach up linebackers. I mean, that to me is the biggest question mark that I have on the field about this team.
That's been a question for Tennessee the whole time. None of the linebackers under Tim Banks have developed well in coverage. And I think that's a fair assessment. And that is a real weakness of his that continues to show itself, is the linebackers in coverage don't seem to play well. I think part of that is Tim Banks a lot of times coaches more pressure packages with the linebackers, particularly if he knows he's shorthanded, to play a little bit more of a soft zone coverage with the defensive backs. There's a lot more of Chavis-esque zone blitzes that are happening sometimes. And the theory is make them work down the field to score a touchdown, and either you could force a turnover or just by nature of having to work down the field, they might make a mistake. You do that a lot of times when you're shorthanded. Last year's defense wasn't shorthanded, but I kept saying at the beginning of the year, everybody kept thinking that this year's defense was going to be like last year's defense. And I've been saying for a while, guys, I don't think it will. This defense, the defensive line last year was uniquely deep. And it wasn't because they just chose to run out a bunch of bodies. No, it's because they had a bunch of guys they could rotate in and out. By being able to do that, they could drop guys back a lot more easily in coverage. I think Tim Banks in this defense doesn't coach that much of disguising coverages with linebackers. That's not a big part of what they do.
Hey, do me a favor. If you like the topic, hit the like button, thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already. We're about to hit a big milestone in terms of subscription numbers, so we greatly appreciate that. Speaks a lot to our listenership and our viewership. We greatly appreciate that. I'm sorry I interrupted you, Caleb. You were going to say what?
Yeah, so all I'm saying is that I think that Tennessee is I think the type of defense Tim Banks runs, there's not a lot of disguising coverage that's coached up with the linebackers per se. And they're having to do a lot more of that right now because of how banged up the cornerbacks are. And let's also not forget this, and I keep insisting this, the safeties are bad. The safeties on this team are really, really bad.
Why is that on Tim Banks, though?
I think that's on a recruiting thing. I think they got hit with a couple of things in the portal. Jacoby Thomas hit the transfer portal. I don't think they planned on it. Looks like Jordan Thomas, who was back from injury, is not fully ready to go. So they're just going with the experience with Andre Turrentine. I mean, I'm going to say this up front. Andre Turrentine can't play. He can't play. He does everything right as best as he can, but he just isn't athletic enough, and Idris Farouk is not good. The safeties were bad last year, but when Jermon McCoy was healthy, it was masked a little bit because Jermon McCoy could play on an island. The other part is they tried this with bringing in Colton Hood, but we learned last week Colton Hood can't play on an island. He can't do what Jermon McCoy can do. He's a good cornerback, but there is only one Jermon McCoy on this defense, and that is Jermon McCoy. And no other cornerback can you leave on an island in this secondary. I think Drummond McCoy being out was causing significant problems for Tennessee that we weren't seeing. And he masked a lot of other issues. Look, there's a lot of talent evaluation, player evaluation, recruiting issues that we can talk about. But in terms of actual planning for the game on Saturday, again, I think when your linebacker, when your lockdown island cornerback is hurt, that really limits what you're able to do if you build a defense around a guy like that, particularly when you're not as deep on the defensive line this year. Okay.
It sounds like you're higher on Tim Banks and I'm higher on Tennessee's chances to win a national championship, which kind of contradicts each other, but there we go. Let's get an update to the poll question, which we want your vote now. Today's tough question brought to you by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com.
Why Banks & Jones? Well, it's because they're Tennessee's trial attorney. You can play to win with Banks & Jones because they'll go to trial. You've heard of other lawyers. They say they'll go to trial and fight for you. They won't. They just want to settle. That's the easiest way out. Well, that's not Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. They won't settle. They'll go to trial for you. Tennessee's trial attorney. They play to win. Truly, Tennessee's trial attorney when it comes to criminal defense or personal injury. Why settle? It's Banks & Jones. T. Scott Jones. banksandjones.com.
Update on the poll question, Caleb. What do we got? And what's the question for those just tuning in?
Okay, so the poll question is, can Tennessee win a national championship? And 58% say yes, 42% say no.
What do you think they're saying in Georgia this week?
I think they're excited about the win. I think they're absolutely thrilled that they can probably win a national title. I think they're also at the same time concerned about their defense to a certain degree. The one thing that I think is going to hit Georgia, it's funny because everything I'm reading on their message boards, they're really concerned about Mike Bobo's play calling long term. I think they're really worried about that. Even though the offense balled out on Saturday, there were a few shots. I think a lot of what happened on Saturday, we got to step back and say, Gunnar Stockton just played some good football. I don't think any of us saw that coming from Gunnar Stockton at Georgia on Saturday. He dropped some dimes with the way he played, and he was mobile.
He did. I thought Tennessee actually had a quarterback advantage going into that game, and as it played out, I don't think they did. It's a good call out for Stockton. Tennessee dealing with injuries. Let's dive into that. 4 Downs brought to you by TedRussellFord.net and TedRussellLincoln.net. East Tennessee's largest volume dealer. They've got the vehicle you want on the lot and ready to go, and they can make deals. 4 Downs, injuries, the latest on these guys. Very important foursome we're about to talk about. Brought to you by Ted Russell Ford.
Come on, guys, it's game time.
4 Downs. Can you count? 4 Downs. 1, 2, 3, 4. The Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun. Represented by T. Scott Jones. Banksandjones.com. Tennessee's trial attorney. From the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studio, East Tennessee's #1 volume and customer service dealer, Ted Russell Ford and TedRussellLincoln.net. Now to the Dave Hooker Show on Off the Hook Sports.
All right, Caleb. So let's dive right into it. Let's start. I'm going to start with who I think is actually the least important. And I'm not undermining his importance, but I'm going to go kind of in the opposite direction because we're asking the question, who does Tennessee need to get healthy the most? We're going to give you updates on where these guys are. David Hobbs, I do not have a good feel for where he is. And I don't think he's the most important guy on this list we're about to go through. But I do think that they could certainly use another defensive lineman and a guy that I think is a special talent as well.
I think David Hobbs is – I disagree. I think all of these guys they really need back. But David Hobbs, I think they really need back because they can't – they're only going 4 deep on the defensive line right now. And they went 10 deep last year. So, I mean, I think both defensive linemen, we're going to get to the other one, but I think David Hobbs they really, really need back because they need to be able to rotate at least semi where they were rotating last year. And right now they're not doing it. And, I thought the defensive line played its hearts out on Saturday. They did everything they could, but they were just gassed by the end of that game. And it's because they're not going that deep up front because of the injury. So I think they really need David Hobbs back.
Okay, leads us to Jackson Moy. See, I like Moy a little bit more than Hobbs, so I would probably say they need Moy a little bit more. That's second down, as Cooper will let us know, because you did your Cooper voice while I was out, correct?
Correct, I did.
Cooper Mays here. Second down.
All right, second down. Jackson Moy, I think he's very important. I like his motor. I like the way he plays. I like his leverage. I think he's very important to get him back. As a matter of fact, I think he's more important than the freshman offensive tackle we're about to discuss.
I actually agree with you. I think he's crucial to get back. Now, I think David Hobbs is important to get back, but I'm with you that Jackson Moy is more important to get back. It is really, really, really important to get Jackson Moy back. And I think, when you talk about that, yes, Jackson Moy, he's a playmaker, he's elite, and also he will just provide a lot of depth for Tennessee. Again, it's a body one, but two, Jackson Moy himself is actually elite too. So when you take those two things into account, it's crucial that Jackson Moy get back. I'm huge on him getting back too.
Let's make it a poll question if we can, and so people are able to interact. Who would you most like to see back on the field? David Sanders would be one, and we're going to get to him right now.
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
Thanks, Coop. What should we do?
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
Thanks, Coop. All right. So Coop says David Sanders is vitally important. He's a freshman. Is he important? How important is he? I should say. We really don't know how good he is.
I'm going to say he is, given the players we've named, you said David Hobbs. I think David Sanders is the least important player on this unit, honestly. I think Jesse Perry's done a great job on the outside. Although there were some mental penalties, I think Sham Umarov and Sam Pendleton and Wendell had done a great job in the interior. I think when you combine the two, I think Tennessee really, really needs they would like David Sanders back, no doubt about it. But I don't think it's the end of the world if they don't get him back, because I think they have enough depth elsewhere that they're not going to panic. So I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. That I think David Sanders is the least important person on this list, funny enough.
Agreed. And that leads us to
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. Fourth down.
Fourth down's a big one. Jermod McCoy. Ricky Gibson the third, still unsure of him. Adam says divided poll equals the good poll. I agree with that, Adam. That's what Caleb's there for. Come up with these great topics. All right. Jermod McCoy's a monster. Get back. If you were able to get him back this week and be ready moving forward into SEC play, it'd be huge.
Yeah. So it basically I think Jermod McCoy is, for those who are questioning why I left Ricky Gibson the third off this list, you're not going to say no one's going to say Ricky Gibson's the most important player to have back, because Jermod McCoy, everybody's going to agree, is more important than Ricky Gibson at the cornerback position. So that's why I left Ricky Gibson off the list. Jermod McCoy is the most important player to get back. Like I told you guys on the last segment, the way Tim Banks coaches, with how he schemes things, it is important to have Jermod McCoy to be able to shut down one side of the field. That gives him so much more flexibility to do so many things. So yeah, Jermod McCoy is the most important player to have back, because while I will say this, Colton Hood, Ty Redmond, they both could offset the loss of Ricky Gibson III as the starting quarterback on the other side. The problem is there's no number one cornerback right now that can play on an island, and Jermod McCoy can play on an island. Tennessee needs him back badly, and I still don't know if they're going to get him back.
I'll say this. I'm not sure that you could make the argument that McCoy's more important than Moy and Hobbs combined.
You think McCoy is more important than Hobbs and Moy combined? I mean, that's tough. I mean, I kind of probably agree. I guess I do agree. I guess I do agree. I would agree with you. McCoy, because of the different elements that he has, I would say he's more important than those two combined. But I think at any rate, if you're taking two guys, you're taking McCoy and one of the defensive tackles. You and I would agree Moy, but you're taking one of the defensive tackles and McCoy. That alone would change so much of what your defense can do going forward if you get those two guys.
Derek had this. I was so proud during the game due to Sanders on the sideline, and not one time I felt like he was missed. That's true. Now, this is an offensive line that if it would have been without Cooper Mays at Florida, it was a complete disaster, right? That was their best offensive lineman, and it was a fiasco. So it hasn't been that long ago that Tennessee was in a way different place. That's Four Downs, brought to you by Ted Russell Ford and TedRussellLincoln.net, TedRussellFord.net, TedRussellLincoln.net. Give me 30 seconds, and I got more for you right here off the Hooks.
A beacon of hope in a world of high prices. Look to the skies, Knoxville. Super savings is here. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 volume Ford dealer.
Right now, get 0% APR, 0 down, and 0 payments for 90 days on select models, plus 2 years complimentary maintenance.
Come see the super dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford location, Parkside Drive, or Kingston Pike.
This day in Tennessee sports history.
It's cool, baby. It's cool.
Now you know, and knowing is half the battle. The Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun, Off the Hook Sports.
This day in Tennessee sports history, September the 16th. What happened on this day in Tennessee sports history, Caleb?
On this day, 36 years ago, Tennessee exacted revenge on Steve Spurrier at Duke. The year before, Spurrier had upset Johnny Majors in Knoxville as Duke's head coach, and this year, Tennessee got revenge and beat Duke 28-6. That Duke team would go 8-4 and be named ACC co-champions. Yes, Duke. When Steve Spurrier was at Duke, he won the ACC.
Pretty impressive. That's even more impressive than what David Cutcliffe did there. And you know what I think of David Cutcliffe.
I agree. I mean, that was incredible that he won the ACC title at Duke. And David Cutcliffe, for those who don't know, also, as you know this, David Cutcliffe had a good bit more support than Steve Spurrier did too. At the same time when he was at Duke.
Definitely.
Duke was
they won it. They realized football could be a moneymaker when David.
Yeah, I agree. Where when Spurrier was there, that was literally just a write-off program, basically. So they did not care. So going 8-4 at Duke, I mean, what Spurrier did at Duke was just so incredible. And I still feel like that's not talked about enough, that he won at Duke in the 80s. I don't know what's more impressive, doing that or almost winning the SEC at South Carolina in the 2010s.
Well, you're forgetting too what kind of a dumpster fire that Florida was too.
True, but I think we all kind of saw, because Florida State and Miami had risen. Like, didn't everybody know that if Florida could stop cheating and get the right coach, they could be an elite program just because all the talent was starting to, grow in that state?
I think people thought that, but nobody had done that. You didn't know how bad of a disaster that was. I mean, it's 3 rebuilding jobs that, South Carolina's still benefiting from what he did in Columbia because of what he did to facilities there. Duke, I'm sure, benefits some shape, form, or fashion. Florida does. So, yeah, he's an incredible coach. Coming up, why the kickoff? Yes.
Sorry, you covered recruiting. I just meant to ask this question too. If Spurrier, before Spurrier, does South Carolina ever keep a kid like Jadeveon Clowney in state?
No. Well, they pay him.
Well, yeah, but if they don't pay him, do they keep him in state?
They did anyway. Wow, yeah. That was a big rumor around him. Hit that like and subscribe button. 2 minutes off the hook. Sports, why the Mississippi State kickoff time matters immensely, says Caleb Calhoun. Stay tuned off the hook. Sport.
Why Banks & Jones? Well, it's because they're Tennessee's trial attorney. You can play to win with Banks & Jones because they'll go to trial. You've heard of other lawyers. They say they'll go to trial and fight for you. They won't. They just want to settle. That's the easiest way out. Well, that's not Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. They won't settle. They'll go to trial for you. Tennessee's trial attorney. They play to win. Truly, Tennessee's trial attorney when it comes to criminal defense or personal injury. Why settle? It's Banks & Jones. T. Scott Jones. BanksandJones.com.
Hello, ma'am. Here to look at that plumbing problem? Oh, boy. Yep. You're going to need a whole new sink. If this toilet is no good, you're going to need a new one ASAP. You are not going to believe this. You're all out of milk. Have you heard about our service plan?
I need to call Scott's.
Scott's Plumbing, your trusted neighborhood plumber since 1977.
Community banking is about location and much more. It's about family. We reside in your community. We are a part of your community. At Commercial Bank, our commitment extends beyond the walls of our branches. It's displayed each day in the opportunities we provide, the money we give back, and the time we commit, all to help improve the lives of the people, families, and businesses that make our communities great. Commercial Bank. Life made better.
Having been in the jewelry industry for a long time in the Knoxville community, I saw a need for a jeweler, a real jeweler.
Our ability to do these designs has really been based on the customers bringing new things in and challenging us as a store. Our goal is not to tell anybody what they want. Our goal is to listen to what they want and then help them get there.
Schedule your consultation today to get your special someone the perfect custom gift just in time for the holidays.
Ginger Power, the Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun. Represented by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com, Tennessee's trial attorney. From the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studio, East Tennessee's #1 volume and customer service dealer, Ted Russell Ford and TedRussellLincoln.net. Now to the Dave Hooker Show on Off the Hook Sports.
All right, Bank on It brought to you by Commercial Bank. The kickoff time for the Mississippi State game, which was announced as an afternoon kick, will benefit Tennessee by not being a night game. Caleb has strong thoughts on this. Tell me about it, Caleb.
Yes, so Tennessee plays Mississippi State. It's going to be a 4:15 afternoon kickoff. Now, I get people are going to be like, well, that means it's going to end at night, but it's pre-daylight savings, which is good. Yeah, so it's going to be pre-daylight savings, and which means it's going to be earlier in the afternoon, and it will favor Tennessee for two reasons. One, if you've ever covered a Mississippi State game, it is much more brutal at night than it is during the day. I mean, those cowbells make it tough no matter what, but it is tough at night in Starkville. More importantly, we've talked about this before, Tennessee under Josh Heupel is not a good football team at night. They just aren't. They haven't been for a while, and it's because it's what we've talked about. They practice in the morning. Last year, their first 3 games at night, they covered the spread. They were 0-8 against the spread in their last 8 night games. They played 11 night games last year and were 0-8 in their final 8 games against the spread at night. So they just don't play good football at night. It holds them back. Mississippi State is a tough game. Arizona State just lost to them last week. They're going to ride some momentum because they're going to beat Northern Illinois this week. And Dave, you know how this goes. Part of sometimes the home team pulling off an upset is they're riding a wave of momentum because they've kind of built on themselves over the course of the year. And then it's just the team they can upset comes at just the right time, right? Like one of the reasons Tennessee beat Alabama in 2022 was they started 5-0. I don't think they're beating Alabama if they lose to Pitt or they lose to Florida that year.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and so Mississippi State will be riding a wave of momentum, and I think that's going to help Tennessee. And so I think this being an afternoon game will take some of the wind out of those sails, which will be really beneficial for Tennessee.
Well, in general, it's a tougher place to play at night. I will say this. I think that heat may be more of a factor during the day. Now, Ben says, I thought you could not have artificial noisemakers in college football. Now, I want to address that because Adam says, my understanding is that Mississippi State is supposed to stop ringing the bells just like the band is supposed to stop playing when the ball is set. No idea why it never gets called. It never, ever, ever, ever gets called. I mean, I am telling you, I have been there and it's constant ringing. It was one of the places that I accidentally wore the opposing team's color. It was a maroon shirt. I remember Steve Caldwell, Tennessee's defensive ends coach at the time, said, "What's with that shirt, buddy?" Like, sorry, my wife packed for me. Won't happen again. And I just remember my head ringing and wearing that maroon shirt. People thinking I was probably a Mississippi State fan. I always wore neutral colors, and it was just a fiasco. Now, when we talk about Mississippi State, I know some people are talking about LSU. Are your thoughts on where Mississippi State stands in terms of the SEC West as well?
Well, the West is not like a thing anymore. You're talking about the fan base in general?
Yes. Well, yes. I would say the Western team. I'm sorry, you're right.
Well, okay, so in terms of toughest places to play, and I'll go with original SEC, like we've talked about it before, but I've talked about how loud Auburn gets, how loud LSU and Florida get at night, how loud Kyle Field gets at Texas A&M. We know how loud Neyland Stadium gets. Alabama now gets loud because they've closed in that one side of the stadium. South Carolina weirdly gets loud too. I think the design of the stadium. Mississippi State doesn't always get loud, but when there is a lot of hype and excitement behind a game, they get loud. They get real loud. And I think Tennessee has a lot to be nervous about because of that. So it's there's a really good chance that, yes, the pre-snap reads and things like that will be difficult, specifically because given how things are happening with the pre-snap reads, this offense already struggles on the road because there's so much no huddle communication you have to do. That's going to be hard with those cowbells, but it's more dangerous at night for a national TV game. It just is. It just is down there in Starkville. And you're right. The heat, people worry about the heat affecting Tennessee. In Mississippi, the heat's going to affect the fans. They're not going to be as into it a lot of times if it's an afternoon game.
Well, and Ben said something that I think is correct. Adam said to Ben, the cowbells got an exception at some point. I read about it last week, but not sure if it's a reliable source. I think that is the case. And this, according to Rustastic, I thought the cowbells got an exception a few years ago. I thought I remembered them getting mentioned specifically. I think they did. But I'll say this, and we don't sell tickets here, but good seating at reasonably pricing still available for the Mississippi State game. Another Tennessee takeover. I wouldn't be surprised.
There's not going to be a Tennessee takeover.
Not a Tennessee takeover, but I wouldn't be surprised. What do you consider a takeover?
30%. I don't think it'll be that. Mississippi State is going to fill that stadium. Their fans, they are really excited about the state of the program and the way the season is going right now. After that Arizona State upset win, they're riding really high. There's not going to be a takeover. I can just tell you guys that straight up right now. There will not be a Tennessee takeover. The Tennessee takeover last year with the Ohio State game that everybody talks about, Ohio State was riding. The fans were super upset at the program because of what had gone on when it comes to because of what had gone on with the loss to Michigan. They were super upset. They were ready to walk away. That's not going to be the case here. There's not going to be a Tennessee takeover. I can just tell you that right now. That's another bank on it from my end. There won't be a Tennessee takeover.
State has Northern Illinois this week, so you wouldn't think they would slip up. I don't know Northern Illinois immensely, but I would think they're going to win that game, right?
Yeah, I think they're going to. I think they'll beat Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois has oddly played the Power 5 foes they face this year tougher than you would think. But in general, I would agree that I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to play them this year or lose to them this year. I think it'll be one of those ugly wins as they're looking ahead to Tennessee, but I think they will pull out the win. So, yeah, I think that, in my opinion, they'll beat Northern Illinois. It'll be ugly, but they'll be happy to get the win. They're going to be riding high. There are going to be questions about Tennessee. There's already the storyline because Jeff Lebby was Josh Heupel's offensive coordinator when they were at Mississippi State, not Mississippi State, when they were at UCF. And Dave, I talked about this last week, but what's not being talked about is that Josh Heupel, with Alex Golish's success at South Florida and now Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State, he's slowly starting to build a coaching tree. And, I think that there is a really strong chance that with the momentum Mississippi State is riding, I called this at the beginning of the year. Now, I predicted Tennessee would beat Georgia. I was wrong on that. I almost got it, but I was wrong. But I actually said they were more likely to beat Georgia than they were Mississippi State. I said that at the beginning of the year, as crazy as that sounds. And
it does sound crazy.
It does, right? But Mississippi State, I looked at that, I circled that, and I've seen Tennessee as good for dropping a road game they shouldn't every year. And that was a dangerous game for them from the start. Now, again, one of the things that could help, Joey Aguilar seems like he's much more prepared to handle a road hostile environment than any of Tennessee's quarterbacks since Josh Heupel's been here. I do believe he's got the moxie. I'll even say that over Hendon Hooker. All the respect in the world to Hendon Hooker. Dave, I think Joey Aguilar runs this offense better than Hendon Hooker.
No, you said that earlier last week. That's too strong.
No, it's not. I think Joey, because he's got more moxie and more confidence. But yes, Mississippi State, I've been saying for a while, this is a dangerous game. It is a super dangerous game for Tennessee. But again, I was so under the assumption this would be a night game. And the fact that it's a 4:15 game is enough for me to say, okay, I'll take a step back. That could be just enough for Tennessee to win this game because it was the combination of being on the road and being at night.
Stat of the day is now, and it's brought to you by Sports Treasures.
Stat of the day. They never lie. Or do they? Stat of the day. The Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun. Off the Hook Sports.
Derek points out he doesn't have Hendon's legs. He doesn't have his deep touch either. Derek, he's just not. Come on.
It's the moxie. It's the quick decision making that you need. So,
all right. What do you got? Stat of the day.
On Saturday, Chris Brazzell became just the fifth SEC wide receiver to rack up 175 yards and 3 touchdowns against a top 10 opponent. The only other ones to do that are Brazzell himself, Jalen Hyatt against Alabama in 2022, Devontae Smith against Ohio State in 2021, Justin Jefferson against Oklahoma in 2019, and Deebo Samuel against Clemson in 2018. If you're curious, yes, Josh Heupel has 2 of the 5 on this list.
Give us that stat again, because that's really, really good.
Chris Brazzell became the 5th wide receiver since 2000 in the SEC to rack up 175 yards and 3 touchdowns in a game against a top 10 opponent. And he joins Jalen Hyatt as 2 of the 5. Josh Heupel has 2 of the 5. Jalen Hyatt against Alabama in 2022 and Chris Brazzell this year.
It's pretty strong.
Yeah.
This guy does the work. I like that. That's a really good stat. That's the stat of the day brought to you by Sports Treasures right there in North Knoxville. Over 5 million Sports Treasures. Check them out on Facebook. That's the best way to follow what they have. And they have the card pulls happening daily. They're awesome treasures.
Sports Treasures in North Knoxville is one of the South's largest sports cards and memorabilia dealers, featuring over 10 million sports cards from vintage to modern. Sports Treasures carries a full line of hobby boxes, singles, autographed memorabilia, Tennessee Vol collectibles, fan cave decorations, and so much more. See a museum full of collectibles at Sports Treasures, 4819 North Broadway in Fountain City, and Sports Treasures on Facebook. Sports Treasures, where the real sports fan goes to shop.
What the H?
Wow, I've never worked hard on anything. What a cool life.
For real? The Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun. Represented by T. Scott Jones. BanksandJones.com. Tennessee's trial attorney. From the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studio, East Tennessee's #1 volume and customer service dealer. Ted Russell Ford and TedRussellLincoln.net. Now to the Dave Hooker Show on Off the Hook Sports.
What the H? Should Nico Iamaleava transfer after DeShaun Foster, his head coach, got fired? He can. According to the rules, you can transfer. Again, he could play for his 3rd team in less than a calendar year. Should he? It's crazy to even think about, but I'm not ruling it out. Not of that family. I think it's possible. Make it a poll question. Should he or would he or however you want to phrase it. But I'm not ruling it out. Are you?
No, I'm not ruling it out again at all. Yes, DeShaun Foster has been fired after an 0-3 start by UCLA. Dave, I don't know if you saw this over the weekend. This is hilarious. The official Big Sky Conference Twitter account, which, by the way, Big Sky is a Division II conference. Someone on Twitter made a joke saying UCLA should consider a move to the Big Sky Conference. Big Sky retweets, no thank you, we don't want them. They're that bad of a football team. They lost to New Mexico 35-10. Nico Iamaleava's family's whole thing was, he transferred back to UCLA. They said it wasn't about the money. They said, no, he wanted to play for more pro-style offense that were preparing for the NFL. Well, I fail to see how you get prepared for the NFL when you get beat 35-10 every week and your head coach gets fired 3 weeks into the season. But
how about this? How about Hawaii? What's more pro style than where they held the Pro Bowl at one point?
Ooh, that's a good point. I don't even know who's the head coach of Hawaii now. Do you?
No, I'm not even sure they still have a football team, to be really honest with you. Are Nico and Madden a package deal? That I wouldn't rule that out. I mean, I don't think that they're I don't think they're ruling out package deals at all. Balls Win says SI is reporting that Nico can't wait to transfer out to Miami or Texas Tech. Would you take him is the other question.
He can't wait to transfer to Miami or Texas Tech. He's going to call up Miami and be like, yeah, guys, well, you're so lucky. Today's your lucky day. You're going to be interested in me for $4 million after how I played at Tennessee and how I'm looking at UCLA. This is one of the greatest self-owns. I mean, honestly, it's at this point, I know Tennessee fans are hate watching. I mean, I watch and just feel bad because he's got just a really terrible family around him. And he's got a self-centered father who is trying to be LeVar Ball, who really sabotaged both of his kids' careers because he thinks he's smart. I mean, I watched him against UCLA, and I'm just like, I feel horrible now for the kid. For DeShaun Foster, well-deserved. DeShaun Foster didn't just basically throw Joey Aguilar under the bus by saying we're going to get Nico Iamaleava and make him the starter, even though you were with us all spring. He then started leaking reports to the media that Joey Aguilar has no work ethic and has no leadership, and his staff were doing that. They were trying to publicly sabotage the attitude of Joey Aguilar when they forced that trade. So couldn't happen to a more deserving person than DeShaun Foster. But yeah, it's I think Nico Iamaleava might look to transfer. He has no leverage. He has torched all leverage he ever had, given the way things were going. Now, Dave, I don't know what you know, but people I've talked, some things that have reported last week close to the program said that after the way last season went, one of the things that might have led to the transfer is Tennessee got a little more standoffish because they started to get a little nervous that he wasn't as good as they thought, and they decided to not they thought they might have maxed out what they could do with him after the way they saw him play last year.
Boy, coaches typically don't make those calls, though. Okay. You know, you typically don't. That would be really, you'd have to be an assured coach in your position. Does that make sense? I mean, typically you don't second guess something like that. You're going to dance with the guy you brought to the.
Yeah, you're going to go down with the ship. And Tennessee did too much for Nico to not go down on the ship. I'm just saying, I think I've heard some reports that they were very, maybe not Heupel himself, but there were people within the program that felt that Nico just wasn't what they thought he was going to be and what they wanted to spend all the money on at the time. And
okay, I'll go with you there. I think that there were probably people that felt like he was overrated when they offered him that much money. I feel like he got on campus and they thought that he was overrated at that point. But I do believe ultimately that Josh Heupel would have gone down with the ship.
Okay, so and that's possible. That's very possible too. It was. I mean, we found out the offer that was made to him. You know, he was offered after he was trying to negotiate. They did offer him over $3 million to stay at Tennessee, and then he went and wanted $4 million and hit the portal. And then they made it all about, it was to play in a pro style offense. And then Nico said it was to be closer with family. It was very much like the stories were Nico said it was to be closer to the family. The official statement from the Iamaleava camp was that it was about playing in more of a pro style offense and getting more help. I don't know how you think you got more help around you at UCLA. None of this stuff added up. And so they were trying to make it out to be like Tennessee was controlling the narrative, basically.
Yeah.
And it turns out the narrative was right.
Right. And General Ursus, I think, nailed it. Best thing for Nico to do is stay where he's at. Leaving would only make things worse for him. You're right. You can't run away from your problem. And he's got a problem. He needs to face it. It's called his dad. And wherever he is now, whatever you think of UCLA's football program, all Big Sky or whatever they are, or whether he's Ohio State or Tennessee, it doesn't matter. He needs to stay where he is and learn that you can't run from your problem. But he's probably going to be, I don't know what UCLA ended up paying him, but he's going to end up being a millionaire anyway, just based off his ability, right?
Well, they paid him $1.2 million. He threw away $3.5 million for $1.2 million. The way this worked is they both genuinely thought, he really did think that after he left Tennessee, my understanding is the camp really did think that after Nico transferred out of Tennessee, that there were going to be teams lining up to pay him, and nobody did. And
Derek says Nico wouldn't be a top 10 quarterback if he was here today in the SEC, and we'd be screwed. You're absolutely right.
I disagree somewhat with Derek, and I understand the point. Like, Joey Aguilar is running the offense so well. I do think Nico, again, did I overhype him going into last year? Yes, I'll take full responsibility for that. But I do think he still could have grown into the role. And people talk about quarterbacks, oh, they don't process quickly. Well, you can develop the ability to process quickly. That can come as the game slows down for you to a certain degree.
No, I agree. I think it's natural for some guys.
Right. And, the reason, yes, Aguilar looks like he's processing quickly. Aguilar is also a 6th-year senior. He's been playing college football for a long time. So he's going to naturally process a lot more quickly. And I think Nico, that last year was his first year starting. He could probably process a lot quicker if had he had a full all season and worked in the system and gotten more comfortable. It's on him that he's not. He and his family did this to him. But I wouldn't say Tennessee did this to him, and he can't blame anybody but either himself or his father. I'm not all about, I understand the Tennessee fans hate watching every UCLA game. I'm just feeling bad for him watching the games, though, honestly. I found myself feeling horrible for the kid because he is just he's got such bad people around him.
No, I agree. There's some guys that I felt bad for different reasons, but he has a lot of bad people around him who are going to continue. That's why, I'll ask you this question, and we can address that after the break. Will he transfer? Should he transfer? Let's just do it that way. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com, as we broadcast live from the Ted Russell Ford and Ted Russell Lincoln.net studios, East Tennessee's largest volume dealer.
It's a new year, a new day, and Ted Russell Lincoln has an exciting new offer to share. Right now, get a 2024 Lincoln Navigator with 0% APR for 72 months and up to $4,000 in bonus cash. Or drive away in a new 2024 Lincoln Corsair Grand Touring with 0% APR for 60 months and up to $4,500 in bonus cash. It's time to get excited about the ride. Come and see what a luxury car experience truly is at Ted Russell Lincoln, Knoxville.
Hello, ma'am. Here to look at that plumbing problem? Oh boy. Yep. You're gonna need a whole new sink. If this toilet is no good, you're gonna need a new one ASAP. You are not gonna believe this. You're all out of milk. Have you heard about our service plan?
I need to call Scott's.
Scott's Plumbing, your trusted neighborhood plumber since 1977.
Having been in the jewelry industry for a long time in the Knoxville community, I saw a need for a jeweler, a real jeweler.
Our ability to do these designs has really been based on the customers bringing new things in and challenging us as a store. Our goal is not to tell anybody what they want. Our goal is to listen to what they want and then help them get there.
Schedule your consultation today to get your special someone the perfect custom gift just in time for the holidays.
Sports Treasures in North Knoxville is one of the South's largest sports cards and memorabilia dealers, featuring over 10 million sports cards from vintage to modern. Sports Treasures carries a full line of hobby boxes, singles, autographed memorabilia, Tennessee Vol collectibles, fan cave decorations, and so much more. See a museum full of collectibles at Sports Treasures, 4819 North Broadway in Fountain City, and Sports Treasures on Facebook. Sports Treasures, where the real sports fan goes to shop.
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
That's hot.
It is. All right. So the question was, should he transfer? Will he transfer? Talking about Nico. I'll say he should not, but I'll say he will. I will go ahead and predict that he will. That's his nature. That's their nature. I think that's what they'll do.
I think he will. I'm with you. I think he should not. I think he'll get even less money if he gets the portal now. He's devalued his market so severely that, he went from could have gotten over 3 million to getting 1.2 million. If he goes on the open market again, nobody will take him for $1 million. He'll have to accept less than $1 million to play.
It's tough sledding, I guess. All right, so we decided that we were going to do this on a weekly basis. We're going to continue to do it with Joey Aguilar and his play, and we're glad that he's played incredibly well because it makes the element that much more important. And we're going to do weekly quarterback rankings. So here we go. Let's dive in. And who do you have? I know you like John Mateer a lot at Oklahoma. Do you want to count them down? Do you want to go backwards, forwards?
We'll count them down. And these are all the starting quarterbacks in the SEC this past weekend. And we're going to count down where they're landing right now in the SEC. So our SEC quarterback power rankings, and might be a little controversial where I have Joey Aguilar, not on this board, but on a lot of boards. Do we want to do hot or cold to tell me if you think you disagree or agree with this, where I put these guys?
Yeah, let's do hot or cold. Brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com.
Where do you stand? Hot or cold? Brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Integrity matters. 50 years in East Tennessee. cityheatandair.com. On Off the Hook Sports.
All right, Caleb, here we go. What do we got?
All right, so worst quarterback in the SEC right now, and no one's going to debate this after what the performance he put on Saturday. And we called this in the all season, and it's being proven more. We're being proven more right than we expected to be, which is DJ Lagway. 5 interceptions against LSU. DJ Lagway of Florida is the worst quarterback in the SEC among all starting quarterbacks in the SEC right now, far and away. He's number 16.
That's hot.
I agree with that. Who else?
Number 15. Another one with a lot of hype who I didn't think was overrated, but he's playing poorly right now. Lenoris Sellers, number 15. Now, he did get hurt on Saturday, but they were already down 14-7 when Lenoris Sellers got hurt against Vanderbilt. So Lenoris Sellers has not been playing good ball this year. And now that he's hurt, he's number 15.
I wouldn't have him that low, but I understand your argument. I think that's a team problem as much as anything. All right, who's 14?
All right, 14. I'm going all the way down. I mean, the guys that are hyped up, Arch Manning, less than.
I would have him lower than Lenoris Sellers.
The reason I have Lenoris Sellers lower right now is Lenoris Sellers just got hurt.
Oh, okay. That seems like adding insult to injury, literally.
Literally. Arch Manning's number 14, less than 50% completion rate last weekend, played some really bad football. Some real concerns on Arch Manning. He's number 14. Number 13. Cutter Boley at Kentucky, who he got his first start last week for Kentucky. Played very well against Eastern Michigan, but it was Eastern Michigan, so I mean I can't do anything about that right now.
Okay, I'll roll with that, I guess.
That's hot.
All right, now pretty much every other quarterback, Dave, is happy about the way things have gone this year, and I say that to say the SEC is really good with their quarterbacks this year. I mean, really, really, really good.
They are.
So number 12, Jackson Arnold. Now the reason he's down at number 12 this week is he had a bad week last week against South Alabama, but still with Auburn, played great against Baylor. Jackson Arnold is still playing good football. So he's number 12, but again, in any other conference, he'd be top 4, top 5.
Yeah, I could go with that.
Number 11, Garrett Nussmeier. He's got LSU at 3-0 with 2 Power 5 wins. Both those Power 5 teams, though, Florida and Clemson, are now 1-2, and he hasn't played great yet, so because of that, I have to have him down at number 11. He's got to show me a little more.
Fair. All right.
That's hot.
What else?
Number 10, Blake Shapen, Mississippi State. Playing very well, running the Jeff Lebby offense at a very high level. Not putting up the big numbers you would expect a Lebby or Heupel offense to do yet, but he's got Mississippi State at 3-0, and he's playing good.
He's got a nice season shaping up.
Yeah, but...
all right, what else you got?
That's hot.
Bo Prabula, Missouri, was a Heisman candidate 2 weeks ago to me. Now, last week that dipped a little bit, but he's still playing really, really, really good. He's just got to prove it against more elite competition.
Yep, I can roll with that. Yes, G. White, 713, asked Lagway is overrated. Sellers overrated too. Yes, that's what Caleb said earlier. He has Sellers a little bit more overrated than I do, but we both think he's overrated. What else you got, Caleb?
All right, now the top half of the SEC. Number 8, Diego Pavia. He's got Vanderbilt 3-0, 2 Power 5 wins, and played well last weekend against South Carolina. Maybe that Diego Pavia trash talk is coming to fruition.
Well, yeah, and he told Theo Vaughn if Vanderbilt he started the season 3-0 that he would let Theo Vaughn go out with his mom. So I don't know what
looks like they're going to have to do that.
Yeah. Thank you, Derek. I appreciate that. Go ahead. Who's next?
All right, next, Ty Simpson at Alabama. Don't look now, but Ty Simpson, after that rough start against Florida State, has played very, very well the last 2 weeks, and he torched Wisconsin.
Yes, I don't think he can go any higher than what he got him 4th.
No. I got him at 7th right now.
Okay, any higher than 7th where you have him. But I do think that he deserves to be 7th in top half of the SEC. He has played well since the bad showing against Florida State. All right, who's next?
All right. Now here we go. Number 6, Taylon Green at Arkansas. Taylon Green has played very well. They lost last week to Ole Miss 41-35 in a shootout. Taylon Green did his job, but he's a very good quarterback.
I'll give you that he's better than I thought he was. How about that?
Fair enough. There we go. Now,
this is interesting that Todd points out that all the SEC quarterbacks were overrated in the preseason. That's pretty accurate.
Well, no, a lot of them were underrated. It's just the high-profile ones were overrated.
Well, he meant all the all SEC quarterbacks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right, number 5. Now, people might want him higher. Trinidad Chambliss, who just balled out for Ole Miss in his first start last weekend to lead them to a win over Arkansas. He had epic stats, epic yards, but it was against a really bad Arkansas defense and was just his first start. So I can't go higher than 5 right now.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. And again, when you talk about 2 quarterbacks, a lot of times it means you don't have one. So we'll see how that shakes out.
All right, number 4, John Mateer. John Mateer is playing really well right now. He's got Oklahoma undefeated. He is highly efficient. This Brent Venables, Washington State Cougars offense now is starting to take shape, and I might be wrong on Brent Venables because of it.
Now, he is the number 1 rated, for the record, quarterback in terms of yardage in the SEC per game. He is 11th, though, in the SEC in terms of quarterback rating. So it's a little bit of a reach for you.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, he's played some really good defensive teams. I mean, their signature win is against Michigan, which, as you know, Michigan makes games ugly and slows things down. And so for him to be as efficient as he's been, I think we have to give John Mateer a ton of credit for that. 314 yards a game. I can't ignore that. And so I got John Mateer at number 4.
By the way, you know who's rated number 1 in quarterback rating?
Would it be the person I'm about to name?
No. Already named him.
I'm sorry?
Ty Simpson at Alabama.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Did not know that.
There you go.
All right. Number 3. I know he just lost, but Joey Aguilar. They didn't lose because of him. I know he threw 2 picks against Georgia, but neither one. Well, one was definitely not his fault. The other one might not have been his fault. Aguilar at number 3, the moxie, the running of Josh Heupel's offense. Joey Aguilar, even in a loss, is number 3.
Yeah, I think he could be 2, as a matter of fact. His quarterback ranking, according to the SEC, is 5th in the SEC. And he's 2nd in yards. So that means he's putting the ball in peril more oftentimes than not. And Tennessee's not getting burned for it. I could make an argument he's number 1. You've got him at 3. I can roll with that. And I'll say
that's hot.
But I think that's the lowest I could possibly have him.
I agree. That's where I'm landing too. Number 2, Marcel Reed. Now, it's not going to show up in the quarterback rating because he completed less than 50% of his passes, but he threw a lot of bombs on Saturday against Notre Dame, and he threw for 360 yards. So even though he was only 17 of 37, he averaged over 9.5 yards an attempt, and he ran for 37 yards, and he led Texas A&M to a huge win in South Bend. Marcel Reed's number 2 for what he did on Saturday.
For the record, he's 7th in quarterback ranking in the SEC. So all of these guys are towards the top. All right, who have you got number 1 then?
And number 1, I can't believe I'm saying it, but it's Gunnar Stockton. After riding him off consistently, that was, I mean, we're not sometimes when you cover one team, you have a hard time like stepping back and looking at what the other team did right. And it's hard to look back and say that Gunnar Stockton didn't play an amazing game for Georgia on Saturday. He played an incredible game.
Okay. He's not the best quarterback in the SEC, though. This is a power ranking. What do you define as power ranking?
How you're playing right now in the moment. And in the moment, Gunnar Stockton's the best quarterback in the SEC. He went to Neyland Stadium. And by the way, despite Georgia losing the battle in the trenches on both sides, Gunnar Stockton wielded Georgia to victory over Tennessee.
Yeah. I can't roll. I don't think it,
I think it was him. Who else was it? Who else was the best player on Georgia? Gunnar Stockton absolutely torched Tennessee.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to have to see a little more from Gunnar Stockton. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee trial attorney, banksandjones.com. We broadcast live from the Ted Russell Ford, Ted Russell Lincoln studios, tedrussellford.net, tedrusselllincoln.net, East Tennessee's largest volume dealer. They have the vehicle you want, and you don't have to haggle. Just go down there and pick it up. Ted Russell Ford, Ted Russell Lincoln on Parkside Drive and Kingston Pike.
A beacon of hope in a world of high prices. Look to the skies, Knoxville. Super savings is here. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 volume Ford dealer.
Right now, get 0% APR, 0 down, and 0 payments for 90 days on select models, plus 2 years complimentary maintenance.
Come see the super dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford location, Parkside Drive, or Kingston Pike.
Sports Treasures in North Knoxville is one of the South's largest sports cards and memorabilia dealers, featuring over 10 million sports cards from vintage to modern. Sports Treasures carries a full line of hobby boxes, singles, autographed memorabilia, Tennessee Vol collectibles, fan cave decorations, and so much more. See a museum full of collectibles at Sports Treasures, 4819 North Broadway in Fountain City, and Sports Treasures on Facebook. Sports Treasures, where the real sports fan goes to shop.
Community banking is about location and much more. It's about family. We reside in your community. We are a part of your community. At Commercial Bank, our commitment extends beyond the walls of our branches. It's displayed each day in the opportunities we provide, the money we give back, and the time we commit, all to help improve the lives of the people, families, and businesses that make our communities great. Commercial Bank, life made better.
Now in its 45th year, the second and third generations continue Joe Newbert's commitment.
His vision of what this business needed to be, we still try to live up to that.
Joe Newbert Collision Center.
Are you ready to get strong? At NFC, we offer top-notch weight training and functional fitness, so you can build strength and improve your performance. Join today at NFC1.com or stop by any one of our 7 East Tennessee locations.
And here we go.
It was a huge waste of time, like bringing a married guy to Vegas.
Then there's this guy, the Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun. Represented by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com, Tennessee's trial attorney. From the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studio, East Tennessee's #1 volume and customer service dealer, Ted Russell Ford and tedrusselllincoln.net. Now to the Dave Hooker Show on Off the Hook Sports.
All right, a lot of talk about Texas on the message board for some reason. G Watt 713 says Texas could recover with better quarterback play or crater if not. I agree with that. I'm not arguing with that at all.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree with that.
And Steve says Arch will settle in, but it'll be too late for Texas. Sam saying have Marcel Reed above Joey is awful. It's calling you out in your power rankings.
I mean, Marcel Reed was incredible on Saturday at Notre Dame. And, I mean, it was a road game.
I think your recency bias is a little strong. I'll just be honest.
Power rankings are a recency bias. That's the whole nature of power rankings.
Okay. I would hesitate on that.
I mean, I can't ignore what Marcel Reed did. That was incredible. And he's actually, Texas A&M has hit the over in all 3 games they've played this year. So it's required Marcel Reed to do a lot of scoring. And yes, his efficiency is not there. He's not that accurate, but he is averaging nearly 9 yards an attempt, only 1 interception with 9 touchdowns, on top of the fact that he's run for 142 yards.
Okay. Just a little strong. All right. Football IQ, Caleb's favorite segment. He gets to make fun of millionaires, which, hey, we all enjoy doing that. Let's get to that right now. Our Football IQ segment is right now on Off the Hook Sports.
Coaching IQ. Not all coaches are dumb.
All right, I'm in. Me too.
Let's do this.
Are we sure about that? The Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun, represented by T. Scott.
I have no idea why 3 things are playing at once, but we'll just go ahead and get to the segment, okay? Let's do this. All right. Who was the dumbest coach of the weekend?
Well, we'll start with the least dumb because this is a debatable call, but I think it was dumb long in given the flow of the game. But Texas A&M's 11-yard touchdown pass on 4th and goal from the Notre Dame 11 to win the game 41-40 happened because Marcus Freeman called a timeout before the play. Now, they had been shutting down Texas A&M's offense to that point. They had driven down the length of the field, but Notre Dame stuffed Marcel Reed on a run, forced 2 incomplete passes. The lineup happens. Texas A&M their backs are against the wall, and Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman calls the timeout to let Texas A&M talk about the play, which they do, and then they score a touchdown.
That's not smart.
Right? That ain't that right.
No, that's not smart at all. All right. Well, who else? I could have told you that Marcus Freeman wasn't going to win any quantum physics awards anytime soon. But who besides Marcus Freeman was not so bright in your opinion?
Okay, also not so bright in my opinion is going to be old Pat Narduzzi at Pitt, who has been there a really long time, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, Pat Narduzzi at Pitt. This was a chance to bury them. Pitt in West Virginia, an old school rivalry for those who don't know, and Rich Rodriguez back at West Virginia makes it even better. Pitt had the ball. 4th and 4 at the West Virginia 37 with 2:58 left to go. You know how I feel about punting, Dave. It's 4th and 4 at the West Virginia 37-yard line. Pitt, if they get a first down, they can run out the clock. They're up 24-17. Pat Narduzzi, in his incredible brilliance, just insane brilliance, punts the ball. Nets them 29 yards, basically. He took a delay of game, then punted the ball. You go for it. You go for the win. You go for the jugular.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me about Pat Narduzzi, though. That's how he's kept that job for so long.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, but you got to go for that. You got to go for that in that situation.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right. Who else we got?
Sam Pittman in Arkansas. Yes. Now, we know Arkansas has been dropping 40, 50, 60 points a game to start the year. We know Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin as an offensive team. So, Dave, you knew going into this game it was going to be a shootout, right?
You would think.
Well, Sam Pittman wasn't aware of that. And so on the opening drive for Arkansas, they get to the Ole Miss 33. It's 4th and 2. It's 4th and 2. You've got the most efficient passer in the SEC to this point. You go for that. He tries the 51-yard field goal. It's missed. There's a much greater chance of you converting that 4th and 2 than there is of you hitting that 51-yard field goal.
I agree. I don't think that's really broad as well.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Our old boy Dabo Swinney, who it just feels like the game has passed him by in a lot of ways. But Dabo for Clemson, love this. Another 4th down long field goal. 4th and 3 at the Georgia Tech 35-yard line. He is going to kick the field goal. Changes his mind, calls a timeout. And then says, you know what? I'm going to kick the field goal anyway. Sends this guy out for a 52-yard field goal. Field goal is missed.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. And then our final one. Guys, I'm sorry. Josh Heupel's on here. The 4th and 2 punt at midfield. The difference in the game. Kirby Smart going for it 3 times. Josh Heupel punting it on a 4th and 2 at midfield in a shootout. That was, for an aggressive coach like Josh Heupel, who is known for that, that was a very loser move in sending the message of I'm trying to keep this game close with Georgia.
So you're calling out Josh Heupel. And
Oh, yes. Yes, that 4th and 2 was a dumb time to punt. It was stupid.
I think that one's debatable.
That's not debatable. You go for that. 4th and 2 at midfield in a shootout, you're going for it every time.
Biff Poggi was Michigan's interim coach on Saturday, according to a post by Unsung. That guy looks like a high school gym coach. Well, he is. I covered him and his kids who Henry, I think, played for Michigan. It was obvious they were going to Michigan. They were out of the Baltimore area. And yeah, I mean, he is. He looks that way, but that's who he is.
He looks like kind of, he also played for Pittsburgh, funny enough, when you're in the NFL. Well, interesting. I'm looking him up now. Yeah. Just such a name, right? Biff Poggi.
I know that is. Yeah, it was fun to write that one. You just work that into the copy anytime you could. You'd work in other people's name that were last name Poggi, so you could write Biff more often because you just like writing Biff. G White 713 says Brazel for Biletnikoff Award. I wouldn't rule that out.
I wouldn't rule it out. Definitely possible. The way he's looked through 3 games so far, definitely possible.
Yep. I mean, Jalen Hyde did it out of nowhere. I mean, it's not one of those awards where you have to have a reputation before the season, even more so than some all SEC awards. And Tennessee would be known as wide receiver U if that happens, Steve. I don't think there's any question about it. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com. We broadcast live from Ted Russell Ford and tedrusselllincoln.net. East Tennessee's largest volume dealer. They have your vehicle now on their Parkside Drive or Kingston Pike location. For Caleb Calhoun, I'm Dave Hooker. This is a presentation of Off the